Very few of us today cook in the same way, in the same kitchens used by our mothers or our grandmothers. The technology of cooking is always evolving to be faster and more efficient. The same was true in early America and can be seen in the history of the kitchen fireplace here at the Wentworth House.
The Wentworth House, when it was originally constructed in 1701, was built in a typical New England colonial form, what's called the center chimney colonial. On one side of the center chimney was the parlor, the best room reserved for important visitors and special occasions. On the other side was a multi-purpose room called the hall, and this is where we're sitting right now in what was originally the hall of the Colonel Paul Wentworth House. This was the true heart of the home. It was used for cooking, for eating, socializing, and even sleeping.
Sometime in the second quarter of the 18th century, a lean-to addition was built onto the back of the Wentworth House and included a very large kitchen space. We are standing in that lean-to kitchen at the moment. Given that the lean-to kitchen is referred to in a 1748 inventory as the new kitchen, it's safe to guess that the addition occurred sometime during that previous decade. Over the ensuing years, the successive generations of the family made changes to the lean-to kitchen fireplace to modernize it and to improve its efficiency, changes which are evident in both the architectural evidence and in later photos as well. In restoring the Wentworth House, the decision was made to return the fireplace to its probable appearance around the time of the American Revolution. Now first, the introduction to the fireplace and some of the terminology here. So the firebox is the area where we build the fire, and it's generally equipped with a crane, which is this piece right here, which can be used to hang pots on and use that to cook over the fire. The andirons are just here, and those would be used to support the wood. The wide brick area in front of the fireplace is called the hearth, and this is where a lot of cooking also takes place. And then there's the bake oven, just over here, which is a capacious dome-shaped oven built into the chimney stack, sometimes referred to as a beehive oven.
In its earliest iteration, the firebox of the lean-to kitchen fireplace was a wide and deep rectangle, which we can see outlined by this darker brick that runs around the fireplace. Most likely, the bake oven at that time was located within the firebox, either at the back or slightly off to the left, as you can see in this circa 1725 photograph of the Fenno House kitchen at Old Sturbridge Village. This was a very common arrangement in the 18th century, but an obvious disadvantage to that location is that the cook, in order to get to the bake oven, has to reach in over the fireplace to either put food in or take food out. By the late 18th century, the firebox for fireplaces had become shallower and with more angled sides, and that was intended to help throw more heat into the room as opposed to up the chimney. And at that point, bake ovens typically moved outside the firebox and off to one side, which is where the bake oven is located in the Wentworth House today. This opening down below is not a firebox. It is actually the ash cleanout pit. And accounts and opinions vary as to what it was used for, but it was important to save the ashes from the fireplace because those were used to make lye, which was used to make soap. And so it's thought that that could be a place where you could store the ashes until you were ready to use them, or it might have just been simply a dry storage place. A lot of people think that that's where you build a fire, but that is actually not the case. Cast iron cook stoves became more common, and the Wentworth House kitchen fireplace was modified again. The firebox of the kitchen fireplace was partially closed in, and a cook stove was installed, with the stovepipe feeding into the chimney flue. In the other half of the firebox, the family installed a set kettle, which is a large boiler set into brick with its own firebox below, and this was used for heating water in large quantities for cooking or for washing. However, the brick bake oven was retained. as it was still useful and even preferred by some housewives for baking in quantity.